Silverman, Managing Partner of EB5AN. Thank you for taking time to join us on today's webinar. Today we're speaking with Vipul from India, a real EB5 investor who recently joined our Boynton Beach multifamily equity EB5 project by Coulter, and we'll have the opportunity to discuss with him why he decided to pursue EB5 and his experience going through the source of funds process, as well as selecting a regional center, and ultimately why he chose the Boynton Beach equity project. So thank you for taking some time to join us today. Vipul, could you please introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background and kind of what led you to pursue an EB5 investment in the US?
Okay. Hi, Sam. This is Vipul Jain. I'm a CPA by profession. I had got 2 CPAs, and I am having activities in United States for quite a while, almost a decade, I would say. And some of the opportunities we were losing purely because we did not have a regular status in United States.
Yep.
Then it's like we arrived at a decision that let's take the EB5 route, which would be slightly quicker, slightly cleaner, and it will we will not be struggling with any of our projects where for the want of status, we had to compromise on that projects. So that's the reason we chose this one.
Got it. Okay. And so in that situation, were there other visa options you considered other than EB5 before you decided to do EB5?
That's correct. We considered a few visa options like TN visa. I'm a Canadian by nationality, and we even did L1. But the problem with all these visas, they had to be tied with some sort of employment. So which kind of put some restriction on the scope of whatever we can do or whatever we cannot do. So that's why we did give it a try for other visas, but it always comes with some limitations.
Got it. Got it. Okay. All right. That makes sense. So once you had decided you were going to pursue EB5 seriously, tell us a little bit about, your experience as a professional yourself, seeking out a qualified, experienced EB5 immigration attorney to help you. What was that process like? How many attorneys did you interview? And, who did you ultimately hire and why?
Well, there is a slightly long story behind it. And not only the attorneys, I have been also speaking to a lot of regional centers. And I don't know if you have some sort of history records. I have even talked to you and your company maybe a few years back.
Okay. Yep.
Then even the lawyers we hired, I have been talking to those lawyers also for quite a while for the other visas application we made, like TNL1. And we got some feedback, and we also spoke to the lawyers on more than one occasion. And this kind of lawyer gave me a much better assurance, or I was more convinced, I would say, while speaking to this lawyer. So that really made us we went ahead selecting these lawyers and retain them. And so the idea is the things should go smoothly rather than going for some, let's say, less expensive lawyer. And so we end up not getting the visa. So that is the whole background around getting these lawyers on board.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So once you had decided to hire the specific lawyer, how long did it take you to put together your source of funds documentation? What was that process like?
That was quite, I would say, tough process, not from the lawyer standpoint, but overall process, I would say. One big reason was the US economy became very uncertain in last few months. So the arranging funds also became expensive and quite challenging. Otherwise, the moment we got lawyers on board, within a couple of months, we would have arranged, we actually arranged the funds. It was only like one funding company, they kind of withdraw because they say, oh, your current visa is expiring. So we did present it to them that we have a new application in process, but they doesn't seems to be convinced, and so they didn't do it. So it was ultimately after a few months we arranged all the funds, and now our application is kind of complete from our side, though it is still in the process. And I would say these lawyers, and including the regional centers, they kind of supported us at every step. Even they offered every possible flexibility we need. So that's how it went.
And, you know, if you were asked to give advice to someone considering EB5 in terms of hiring an attorney to help, what would be some of your main points of advice for that person in terms of picking an attorney?
Well, the way I would say, like everybody's situation is unique. And so the person should talk to more than one lawyers, or rather maybe a team of lawyers, and see which one best suits to him or her. Because the lawyer we hired, it suited me in every respect, it may not be suitable to you. So you have to spend time identifying the lawyer, talking to them, and then make a wise decision. And if you have other family members, like I had my own family members, I even took their advice, like what is their opinion about their lawyers. So the secret is you have to talk to a few people before you select someone.
Got it. Okay, that's helpful. All right, so moving on from the attorney, let's talk a little bit about the regional center and the project. So on the regional center side, tell us a little bit about kind of your research process on selecting a regional center. What did that look like, and what were some of the things you were really looking for?
Well, with regional center, again, I have been following these regional centers for a while. But when you actually decide you need to go ahead, you need to compare the projects available at that point of time. And this regional center, I personally was very convinced with the project. Like I talked to other regional centers, I didn't find their project very convincing. Like one person was offering me like 35% return, but like I found that little fishy. Like it is practically impossible. It may not be 100% inaccurate, but the chances you will achieve that doesn't sound very appropriate. Then of course, where the project is actually happening, 90% of these projects are tied to real estate. And of course, this is where I appreciate my lawyer. They also helped me tell me some background about the project. So again, a balanced approach, talking to the people around and people involved, that really made me go ahead for this project.
Got it. And what were some of the differences between our regional center, EB5AN, and some of the others that you spoke to? Like, what would you say were kind of some of the differences that you saw?
One reason is the terms. Like some projects were proving to be very expensive, and some of the projects, sorry, I'm not very technical, but their documentation was still in the approval stage. So there could be a possibility you would have invested in the project and they might not get the approval, like your overall process would have put at a standstill. So of course my lawyers helped me to understand that, but this is one reason which convinced me to go ahead for this one. And then of course, being an accountant myself, I did my own mathematics, like how much this would cost me, how much the return I'm getting, and how much is my affordability. So doing all this analysis kind of made me go ahead. And of course, I would say at every stage, this EB5AN team, it's really, really very helpful.
Got it. And so in terms of the project specifically, what about the Boynton Beach equity project really attracted you? What made you say, yeah, that's the one I want to invest my money into?
Key thing is the location. The place it's located, it's like a upcoming region. There is a more than 100% chance the project may not fail, and there is a reasonable amount of return on this project, so the chances of success is pretty high. And of course the documentation with this one was pretty much complete, so that's what attracted me for this particular project.
And in terms of the developer, this project's being developed by the Coulter Group, a very large established developer. What about their participation made the project interesting for you?
Oh yeah. I forgot to mention, I actually researched this developer, and I go through their history and their background, and of course I even took the lawyer's opinion. So what do, like, they might be dealing with more projects, so what do they feel about it? So this is kind of an added point for me to make the investment decision in this project.
Got it. Okay. And in terms of the decision between an urban project versus a rural project, what made you feel comfortable doing the urban project?
Urban project, I personally feel that the chance of succeeding in an urban project is slightly higher than the rural project, because rural, you're not sure what way it would go. Like if any policy or maybe any other circumstances change, the project might fail altogether. So I believe urban was a more reliable kind of a project.
Got it. Okay. And in terms of equity investment with a higher return versus a debt investment with a lower return, obviously for Boynton Beach, we had both options available. What made you decide to go for the equity option?
Well, equity option, the way we talk in finance, is more risk, more return. And even to arrange funding in United States these days, it's quite expensive. So doing that cost and return analysis, that made me feel we should go for the equity option. Of course, debt investment, it was another option, but like it won't justify the cost incurred to get into that.
Got it. Okay. So compelling return, 5%, that really was attractive, when looking at this project across some of the others that you were considering.
Yes. Like I could find a 35% return project, but like I can't trust that one.
Right. Okay. What can you tell me specifically about working with the EB5AN team, compared with some of the other regional center teams? Like what were some of the differences that you saw, since you'd been looking around for regional centers and projects for quite a while?
Well, I personally feel the team is quite transparent. Like other regional centers, I could question their transparency actually. And secondly, whenever I needed help, they were always available. Like maybe it's some investment decision, some project related decision. Like the moment I tried to get in touch with the team, they were promptly available, and they were always ready to get on the phone, and the things were like never on hold basis dealing with your team. And even because of the funding got delayed in our case, we had to approach the regional center to seek some extension, and they were happy. They were flexible enough to provide that extension.
Got it. Perfect. All right. So, now that your application's all filed, project's going smoothly, everything's on track, what's some general advice that you'd have for other Indian investors like yourself considering EB5? Like what would be the couple, 2-3 main points of advice you'd want to convey?
I would say deal with someone who's more experienced. And of course, you are putting in your money. Like I'm putting my lifelong fortune, and I had to be absolutely sure where I am putting my money. So that is the advice I'm going to give people. And I mean, the first team I would direct would be your team to really talk and discuss with them before making an investment decision. And another very important factor, so currently this EB5 scheme, we are not sure what would be the future like, whether this kind of category would be available or not in future. The political environment is looking to change a lot of things. So it is still very early, but maybe a year down the line, we are not sure how it should be. So keep a close watch if you're really planning to go for it.
Got it. Okay. And so looking back on the process, would you recommend your attorney and EB5AN to other investors, and why?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I would really recommend that because it is my personal. I had a comfort zone dealing with this team of a lawyer as well as a regional center team. So I would definitely recommend to go ahead with this team. But again, go make your own assessment. Like something which suits me, it may or may not suit you. So always go for an informed decision.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Vipul, for taking a few minutes to share your experience with EB5AN and particularly with the Boynton Beach Equity Project. We really appreciate your time and confidence in our team and in the project as well.
No problem. I really appreciate your team's effort, I would say.
All right, perfect. Have a good one. Thank you, Vipul.
Thanks. Take care.
Yep. Bye.